That badass bass playing comes from the one and only Derek Frank. Derek has played with Gwen Stefani, Shania Twain, Jackson Browne, Shakira, Kelly Clarkson, Don Thaler, it goes on and on. He's been nominated for awards. He has his own funky records that you should definitely check out. I met Derek through a friend, and I managed to get one of my M4 multi-scale basses in his hands, and to my delight, he liked it. So we collaborated on, spoiler, this one. Let's go back in time and see how it came together. Step one is to create the body and neck blanks that the guitar will be made of. Derek wants his painted, so I'm going to glue these two pieces of poplar together. This looks a little ratty right now, but trust me, it's going to look gorgeous. Guitar body. For the neck, I'm going to book match this single piece of flat sawn ambrosia maple by resawing it lengthwise, then opening it up like a book and gluing those sides together. This way the grain will be going perpendicular to the fingerboard. I found this maple piece in the woodroom that I'm going to use for his fingerboard. It has this cool figuring, which I think Derek will like because he's cool too. Oh, I forgot to turn the camera on when I glued up the body blank. But this is the process for the neck. Pretty simple. I use the kindergarten method of spreading glue, and then I clamp it down with a ton of clamps. I clamp to my router table because it's machined to some crazy flat tolerance. I've heard it's possible to have too much clamping pressure, but I don't know much. I'm just a caveman. So I just clamp the shit out of it. Okay, tomorrow morning, those 3 pieces of wood will be 1 piece of wood. My guitars all begin life in the computer as a model. I use a program called Fusion and spend months designing, tweaking, and troubleshooting the design. Once I think I have the design locked down, I then use Fusion to customize the design to the client's specs, then create a pile of computer code that is then transferred to the PC that controls my CNC machine. CNC means computer numerically controlled, which is a fancy pants way of saying this machine is kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch with an added third vertical dimension. So we just cut the body, the aluminum pickguard, and cavity cover. That was the easy part. Now onto the neck. First I cut the channels into the blank that will fit the truss rod, which is used later to dial in the flatness of the neck once the strings are putting tension on it, and the channels for the carbon fiber rods that flank the truss rod. Carbon fiber isn't strictly necessary, but I always put it in. It's cheap insurance to guard against potential future twisting. Here I'm epoxying the carbon fiber into the neck, then we're going to epoxy the fingerboard on top of the whole thing. And then more clamping. Good morning. Today is neck day. I always leave this out. This is that epoxy from yesterday. That's how you know it's completely cured. I had the CNC cut this shallow outline, and here I'm cutting off the excess with the bandsaw. Then I'll put it back on the CNC to do the clean full cut. Cutting away the excess saves a lot of wear and tear on the machine and the bits. Next, I cut channels in for the side slot markers, then I super glue these 1mm thick black veneer pieces in. Now to the roundover bit to smooth out the entire top of the neck. Okay, so we've done all the tool paths for the top of the neck. Now we're into much sanding. You know what? Sanding's really boring. Let's check out Derek's band. Beautiful. All right, let's pull this off the table. I like to use this UV activated resin because it's strong and super fast. You spread it on, take it out in the sun, a couple of minutes, it's ready for sanding and the next coat. I texted a couple of pictures to Derek, and he texted back, "Wow," with 5 exclamation points. 5. That's good, right? It could have only been 3, but... And 3's good, it's fine, but... All right, now that that's done, I'll cut the fret slots with the CNC. You notice I had the computer stop these lines, these fret slots just short of the edge. That way we won't see any slot on the side. So that's why I had to cut some of the tang out here. So now I'm gonna measure it like that. Clip it to size. I do the entire fret job now while the back of the neck is still flat because it's much easier to use the absolutely essential fret press. Here I'm dressing the frets by first using a file to bring the fret ends down and angled inward. Did a bunch of other stuff too, but let's just get back to the CNC room and cut the back. Okay, so what we just did is a roughing pass. And what that means is this big gnarly 3/8 of an inch bit went through and hogged out a bunch of material here. You can see it all. Down, in fact, to 2/100 of an inch of the final depth, which is to bonkers precision. Now we're going to get this bit out of here. And we're going to use this ball nose bit to round it over. And that's going to go through next, and it's going to take out all of these ridges here and make it perfectly smooth. And then it'll be within sanding range, and we'll just sand it the rest of the way. This part's always fun because it's the first time I get to actually put it in your lap and feel what it feels like. It's cool. I think he's gonna like it. Before moving on, I have one more little part to make. It's this custom string retainer I mill here in the shop. It's just a piece of 1/4" aluminum that I drill some holes through, bevel, buff, and attach to the headstock with threaded inserts on the back.
You find nothing interesting or creative about sanding. I hate sanding. I'm betting you do too, so I'm going to skip over a lot of these.
Yeah, what can I say? I'm not a big fan of sanding, and there's a lot of it with guitar building. It's got to be done. I'll work my way up to 220 grit sandpaper because I'm painting this body. I'm really trying to take the wood characteristics out of it, meaning no more grain. We really want it to be almost plastic. So I'm going to cover it with more UV resin goop, a couple coats, sand it smooth, and start spraying. Oh, actually, this is different. I'm doing a tung oil finish on the back of the neck. A couple of coats and more sanding. It's kind of silkier for the player. What's not to like about an oil finish? Okay, so we're getting real close now. We've got a couple of coats of sanding sealer on here. We've got a coat of resin on there. We've sanded the life out of it. I mocked up some colors in the computer for Derek to look at. This is a bluish gray with a black powder-coated aluminum pickguard cavity cover. That's the same thing but with brushed aluminum. This is burgundy and black, burgundy and brushed aluminum, charcoal with brushed aluminum, pearl white, black, and this green, black, green brushed aluminum. All those are really pretty colors, but the one he picked is this one, burgundy and black. It's a pretty color, so, but now I have to deliver it. I couldn't handle spraying the color coat and videoing it at the same time, but suffice it to say, I got the color coat on. It's the next day, and here I'm spraying my headstock logo and M4 branding on the back with an airbrush. On top of this, we'll go a dozen or so clear coats. I'll sand that and do a final satin coat. More sanding, woohoo! At this point, there are seemingly a million little details to be done. So let's just zip through this as fast as possible. So after leveling, crowning, and polishing the frets, filing the bone nut, bolting the neck on, assembling all the parts, doing the electronics, which of course I forgot to film, sorry. We're ready to put strings on it for the first time. And now we're going to set up the action so it's playable. The setting up the guitar takes, an hour or so I skipped over a lot of that. This is just dropped in at the end here where I'm finishing up. Great, I'm going to call that done.
There he is.
Hey, man.
Rob Page is here.
How are you?
Delivering the bass.
Yeah, right here.
Great to see you.
This is not like anything. I can't, like if somebody asked, oh, what's the M4 like? I wouldn't have an answer. It's like a completely original instrument.
This is the joy of every builder, is to when you finally get it in the hands of somebody who can really make it sing, and that's the greatest thing. You don't want your instrument to just hang on a wall somewhere. You want it out in the world making music.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like all those trashy basses. You don't want to use those anymore.